Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hanging out with,
Nerdarchy Ted.
and we delve back into our Learn to Play D&D series, and this time we're going to delve into the backgrounds. I'm going to start this video by thanking Easy Roller Dice. Whether it's your first set of dice or your 1 millionth set of dice, Easy Roller Dice is the dice company for you. Down in the description below, you can find a link to easyrollerdice.com/nerdarchy, as well as a special one-time promo code for 20% off on your purchase. So today we're delving back into our Learn D&D series, our Intro to Dungeons and Dragons. Today we're going to talk about the backgrounds. So we've talked about races, we've talked about classes, and now we're going to kind of like break down backgrounds and what that means for the game.
So backgrounds start on page 125 of your player's handbook. So what is a background?
So the background is basically this flavorful thing that you strap onto either your, well, not either, but both your class and your race, right? It's just another defining aspect of your character. So in Dungeons & Dragons, you essentially have like these three pillars of the game, right? Well, you can say that same thing for the character build as well. And, you know, this pillar of the character build actually interacts more with the role playing and exploration aspects of Dungeons and Dragons, and not so much the combat.
It defines what you did before you decided to become an adventurer.
Yeah, either via birth or through profession or occupation, pretty much.
Right.
So this is going to affect your character in several different ways, and this is why this choice becomes important.
So, you know, a couple examples of the backgrounds. By birth, you are a noble and you've been brought up typically in high society and the like. Or you could have sailor, which meant you spent a majority of your life on a boat.
Right, and then there's profession, sailor's a profession, and there's other ones like guilds, tradesman, soldier, sage, entertainer. There's a bunch of different ones, and even those have variances, and they're gonna affect your character in several ways.
So what it does is it offers you both mechanical and role-playing options or builds within that background. So mechanically, you're going to get an assortment of skills, tools, proficiencies, and or languages that background comes with. It also is going to give you the first part of what equipment you actually start the game off with, and your class will give you some as well. But then each background also comes with a feature that's some little small thing that your character can be able to use while you're playing the game.
Right. So we'll break that down a little bit for you guys now. So every single background gives you 2 skill choices. So, you know, basically you're going to get your skills from your class, maybe some from your race, and then you're going to get them from your background as well. And these ones are set. So where, you know, your class is going to be like, choose 2 from this list. This is going to be, you get these 2. Now, don't worry if, you know, you've already gotten it from somewhere else. It is kind of mutable. It does kind of say in the player's handbook you can switch these in and out. It's not a big deal. Now, you're then also going to get languages and or tool proficiencies.
Right.
Now, this is also going to be 2, right? You might get 2 languages. You might get 2 tool proficiencies, or you may get 1 of each.
Correct.
You know, and depending on your choice, it's going to switch it up. Then we also have what you were talking about, the background feature. And the feature always has something to do with either role-playing and social interaction or exploration aspects of the D&D game.
So like the entertainer, you know, you become famous, you can always find a place to stay as long as you're willing to perform at said place. And that pays for your room and board. So that encourages a role-playing aspect of the game. You know, you're not going to be like, oh, well, I'll make a perform check and I'm done. No, they want you to actually, oh, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? How are you hamming this up for the audience?
Right, or even just the aspect of, oh, you have to talk to the innkeeper and get permission to perform there, so that so you can then, you know, receive the benefits. And then other benefits like the urchin, where you just can move through cities and towns at twice the normal pace. So they're kind of like small amorphous kind of benefits, and usually it requires something on the player's part that's going to make the game more interesting.
So then we also move into what they consider suggested characteristics, and this is going to help define your role-playing aspects as well as possible some goals or interaction pillar information. So what are the 4 characteristics?
So what do you have? You have personality traits. You choose 2 of those. You have a bond, you have an ideal, and you have a flaw.
Right. So these things wind up working out. So your bond, this is something that's important to you, and it might be a person, an idea, a thing. And your flaw, well, you've got a nice little built-in weakness, like, oh, I won't tell a lie to save my life. That greatly influences how a character role plays throughout the entire game, and it can lead to some pretty bad things if you're in a situation where you really need to lie and you just can't.
And then your personality traits are kind of just like, it's just like a couple sentences that kind of defines what your character's about and how he interacts with the world and how he views things.
Now, with each background, there is a list that you can either choose, roll randomly, or if you really feel like you've got an idea, you can submit whatever it is that you think is appropriate for your character. You're not attached to the list that's in the player's handbook. You just have to make sure it's approved by your DM.
Right, and you just want to kind of flavor it towards your actual background and the character so that it makes sense a little bit. Now, there's also kind of a mechanical benefit to these as well. Your personality traits, not only your personality traits, but your bonds, your ideals, and your flaws. They're actually triggers for your GM.
When we talked in a much earlier video about advantage and disadvantage, and this is when these things kind of come up, it can give you inspiration, which is a mechanic in the game that actually will allow you to make a roll with advantage.
So these are tools for your GM to use to make more interesting things happen in the game. These are tools for you, the player, to explore those other part of the games, not just the combat pillar, but the social interaction as well as exploration, and it just adds a greater depth to your character in the game.
So, to sum up, backgrounds are the choices that you make before you decide to become an adventurer, before you've chosen to be the thing that you are, that stands you out from the common rabble, and it gives you something for that choice.
Basically in conclusion, the backgrounds are going to make your character more interesting. They're going to differentiate your elven wizard from all the other elven wizards out there. It's just a fun thing to play with. It's going to give some slight mechanical advantages, as well as tons of cool social and exploration things that you can do with your character. It's either something your character had chosen along the way, had chosen for him along the way, or perhaps he just is it in the case of the noble or the urchin.
So if you have any questions in regards to backgrounds, how they're used, or what have you, either ourselves or one of our awesome fans out there would be more than happy to help you out. Just put your questions or your comments down below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Hey, and while you're heading down below, check out the description where you can find easyrollerdice.com/Nerdarchy and look for that one-time promo code for 20% off.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.